or Twitter or anything. He's
Or,
outside touching grass,
or
speaking to
muted,
other
apparently.
people.
Or
No.
muted.
Okay, hold on.
But
Start
that's
from the
it.
beginning.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Waiting for Game. I'm your host, Gimme That Wheat. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Edwin Budding. Please ignore the audio issue. It's our idiot producer, Ambi Sinister, forgot to unmute. We have a show for you today, as they say. Joining us today, we have MeleeSadPosts. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm kind of nervous, but I'm excited to be on the show that I've been watching for like 2 years now.
2 years. Wow. I think you might be our first guest who's been a longtime listener since the Melee Stats podcast. It's so crazy to think about.
I used to watch you. I used to be like, if I fall asleep to Melee, I'll absorb the knowledge. So I would just like watch either you as I go to bed, or I would watch 1001 Meeting Edge Guards.
So yeah, you actually just reminded me of an argument that Ambi and I had a long time ago about Fox mains and Marth mains, which comes up, like, it doesn't come up as often as it used to, but like, once a month it'll come out. And Ambi said one line that particularly resonated with me, and it cut to the core. He and I were in an argument. I think this is actually an argument over the combo video version 2.0, the Marth, the Real Kings Wear Tiaras or whatever, or like both those combo videos. And Ambi just drops this bomb on me. He says, "Edwin, you're just in denial because all you Marth mains think you're so cool, but you just go to bed falling asleep to 1001 Mutaking Edge
No
cards
way,
in Marth."
that's funny.
And I distinctly remember in college for like 3 months every night going to bed watching 1001 Mutaking Edge cards.
It's crazy.
I was like, what the hell? That's so mean. Why would you say that?
It's not mean. It's just what it is. Like, it's not even a bad thing. It's just like, I don't know. I watch these combo videos of Marth players, and like, sometimes they have like a reverse fair, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But like, they're just like different random subsets of the 1001 Marth Edgeguards video.
But I think, to be fair, I think that's from our era. I feel like the newer Marth players just watch Zane.
Yeah,
They just watch Zane and get everything
they go
need
to Uncle Punch, the amount of shine practice you can do with Marth, and just grind that.
Yeah, I got a frame one the other day. My good friend Wheat and fellow host of the show actually sent me one, which I'm very grateful for. And it's so funny. Like, I'm able to wave dash, ledge dash, and do all this stuff on frame one, but I can't short hop correctly.
I hear it's really hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always funny whenever people post their day one box stuff, and they're like, "Oh, look at me! I could quadruple shine day one on box. I'm so sick. This thing's so broken." And I'm like, "Okay, go ahead. Turn around. Turn to the left. Go to the left and attack once. Go ahead."
It took me 2 days to figure out how to walk properly.
Yeah,
I was like, I can't walk. I can ledge dash, but I can't walk. What kind of game is this? I don't have a good transition, but I can say that Leffen once played Frame 1, and I guess the first topic of the day is to just kind of recap the last week and a half or so of what's been going on at Summit. And obviously, I think one of the biggest things is that Leffen's not able to come because of, like, travel issues related to COVID and everything else, which is, I mean, this is kind of an open discussion, but I can say I'm pretty disappointed because I thought he actually had like a very good chance of winning the event.
Yeah, I definitely thought he might have actually been the favorite to win the entire thing.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, I keep saying this. I think people meme on the Sheik decision. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah, Sheik poops on Marth. It's crazy. And
I don't even
was,
know if Sheik poops on Marth, but I definitely
I think Leffen's just really good.
Yeah, sure.
I just think that, like, the reason that character switches are kind of derided in Melee, specifically compared to like other games, is that I think it takes a lot to like deeply learn a character in Melee because since there are so few characters that are like super at the top viable, the relative toolkit versus toolkit stuff with all the matchups is really, really fleshed out compared to other games. But I think, like, of all the players that I can imagine, having the work ethic to actually deeply learn a second character, it had to be Leffen, right? Like he's gotten so good at so many different, uniquely different type of games, that the switch to being good at Sheik for like a handful of matchups just feels like it would obviously work really well with enough practice. So I was really excited. I was like, oh, this is going to be so awesome. But unfortunately, not so good. Not so good for Leffen fans these days.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you
Okay.
go on.
I just think like Sheik's place in the meta is just gonna be destroying foxes, and destroying Mars, and I just like this is a sign of what's to come. I'm okay with this. We're all okay with this, and I just wanted to see Leffen at Summit just because I think we've seen him at his peak, and that's winning Evo, destroying Armada, and I don't think we've ever really gotten to that point again since Evo. It's all taken away from us, and Leffen just has the worst luck. Like, I think he could be the GOAT if he just like stopped getting destroyed by visa issues.
One thing I was particularly interested to see as far as matchups go for Leffen at Summit. I mean, I guess this is kind of null now, but I really wanted to see how Leffen would do against the like kind of play styles and characters that he doesn't get practice against in Europe. Like, I wanted to see how Leffen would do against like, you know, I guess it depends on how the big one turns out. But if None got into Summit, I wanted to see how Leffen deals with the new and improved None. I would have wanted to see how Leffen does in a Fox Ditto against IBW, how he would have managed that, and a lot of that like tier 1.5 to tier 2 like groups of players, because I feel strangely very confident in his ability to like keep up with Mango and Zane. That was really the only like thing I wasn't sure of with Leffen.
You think so? I actually think that Mango is by far his
toughest?
scariest. Yeah, no, I always think
How
that
come?
I've always thought that Leffen had a hard time with Falco specifically, I guess, but particularly with Mango. It was just very weird to me because I distinctly remember a lot of the lanes, the Zane Leffen sets being like really good for Leffen, and I think even the ones that he lost against Zane were like he would play super super well and then like barely win in game 5 or barely lose in game 5 or whatever, and that like really frustrated him or whatever. But I always got the sense that Leffen's character switch was like him getting ahead of Zane improving rather than him like, oh, I have a Zane problem, I need to do this to beat Zane. Whereas with Mango, I just feel like randomly you'd get 3-0'd by Mango or whatever. And, given how well Mango is playing recently, like, even when Mango was, like, distinctly one of the worst in that, like, upper tier of the Pantheon, he was always very threatening for Leffen. And now that he's not at the lower end of that Pantheon anymore, I thought that he was really scary. I actually thought that he was a higher favorite chance against Leffen compared to Zane. But that might be a little bit fringe.
I think Leffen against Falco is just like a very different beast than a lot of the foxes that like we've seen Mango go up against. Like even a step above IBDW, just his like understanding of the character, like what he can and can't do, right? Like if he notices that you can't deal, like you've watched enough of Leffen versus the Real Thing or like other Falcos,
right. Yeah, no,
to where
I've
like
watched a lot of Leffen.
like I think a lot of the 3-0s and they're like, I've mentioned this before, like maybe on the old show even, that like their sets are pretty volatile. Like I don't think that's necessarily indicative of what their average odds are in a set, but it is interesting because like it also goes the other way around. Like Leffen hasn't played someone like Mango. Trini, what do you think?
I remember like Leffen played Frenzy and it was kind of close, right? Over Netplay, right? At an online tournament.
Well, not at the online tournament. I don't think they stream a good amount. Friendly sessions with each other. I have a bunch of them saved because I'm a nerd. I watch that shit. But
what's it like? Tell us that. What's the average?
That's great. I just Leffen isn't talking. He's got his mic muted.
Yeah.
You just hear the controller sounds. Like Leffen does like a bunch of beautiful full hops, and there's like crazy skins on Leffen's stream where like Yoshi's story is like Cave Story or something. But it's just like him doing Leffen things and Frenzy doing things that SP99 would say are SP99 things. And it's very fun to watch. No, I'm a big fan of those two. But they played at that one tournament where Leffen actually used the controller and Frenzy got 3-0'd really bad.
Oh, really? So... Yeah, I think I was
yeah,
fighting the box results.
Yeah,
but, yeah. If there's like two people I worry about Leffen playing, it's like Axe and Mango. Because like he's been kind of getting destroyed by Axe, didn't he? He like lost at like the last 2 times they played.
It's been a while. Like
Yeah.
with Leffen and Axe is always weird because it always feels like Axe catches him by surprise for a couple sets where he beats Leffen solidly, and then Leffen just like beats him a bunch, and we don't even think about it. And
Yeah,
then Axe
probably.
comes back with like a new back like a new strategy or whatever. But like Leffen eventually catch. So I feel kind of similarly about Wizzy, although a
Yeah, I
little
was
like,
gonna mention
but I
Wizzy.
guess Wizzy won't be a factor now. But like I think, but I always felt similarly for like Leffen against Wizzy, where like even if Wizzy would beat him like twice or three times in a row, it never felt like it doesn't feel like a hard matchup for Leffen. You know?
Do you think like Leffen's absence at Summit will like leave anybody in check that's there?
Well,
Because I
likely
know
what?
like Leffen's absence at Summit leaves anybody unchecked. Because we know like players always have their dynamics. Like there's like an RPS, like Mango would beat Armada, and then Armada would beat H-Box.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I think
It's gotta make
I think-
things easier for Zane, right?
Yeah, that was the big one that came
Yeah,
to mind
definitely.
for me. But I think a lot of
But
people would probably disagree with that.
I much like Ambi, I have a lot of Plup seconds saved, and he was giving Zane the hands. It was crazy. Even
I saw that. I
it
saw
was
those.
nuts. I was like, I love this game. I love Sheik. I love you, Plup. I'm sorry for doubting you. Welcome back.
I was watching some of Plup's friendlies against Zane. It was like an hour and a half or something, and I distinctly looked back at the time when I might have mentioned, Trinity, you might remember this, but I mentioned to Wheat and Ambi during one like very sweaty Zane Leffen Sheik session. I was like, "This is the pinnacle of Marth Sheik," and then I saw
that was
the
like
Plup-
literally the second week that Leffen had been touching Sheik for any capacity.
It was so high
It
level.
was like
I
them
couldn't
playing on
believe it.
3 frame like for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And like
It was
Leffen
insane.
was very clearly trying to like learn to move around with the character for the first time.
But he was. But
His
he
flow
was
charts
sick.
were
The
so
game
good,
was
dude.
so good. It was so good. All the ideas are there, and then I just watched Plup beat Zane for like
Yeah.
85% of the friendlies. I was like, oh, never mind. I guess this is the peak of the matchup.
Yeah, you're like,
No,
this-
I mean,
Left, it's crazy. And you're like misses a walk up tilt on Zane and just dies for it, and you're like, oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I don't know. Like Zane is the first thing that comes into mind, but I don't know how like. You know who I think gets helped by Leffen not being there?
H-Box.
Well, yeah, I
Xbox
guess.
is a fun
but-
answer.
Yeah, H-Box is, I guess. But I was actually gonna say Plup. I think that's
Yeah,
one less
definitely,
Fox he has to worry
definitely, yeah.
about. And you know, maybe I know historically that it's not like Leffen beats him all the time, but I think that in the last 2.5 years, at least from whatever we've seen of Plup, Fox is definitely like one of those matchups that I think like it could be in part because of the character he plays. I don't want to get you started too much on this, Trinity, but yeah, saying fiction hacks like when he was around, saying like that caliber of player beat Plup a lot. SFAT also.
Yeah,
Like,
SFAT beat Plup at Slippy Championships League. I lost so many points on.
I won so many points. You're a
Yeah,
fool for
the
betting
odds
against
was
SFAT.
free odds.
He's
It's
like
SFAT against
7-0
Sheik.
against Sheik in the last year and a half.
Yeah, it's
or whatever.
SFAT against Sheik, and the odds were like 2-8. It was the
I won
freest.
so many points. I won like a 6-digit number of points on that set. I got so rich betting on SFAT that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I did vote on Kadoran beating Plup, and and then I bet on Moki's whole thing. I bet on Moki's whole IBDW run, and I'm like, okay, I'm recovering.
It's pretty good. I guess speaking of Summit, since we're talking about Leffen, it's easy to overlook that this week literally had like the most Smash Summit votes ever. I was not expecting the level of votes to which it got to, and more importantly, I think if you had told any of us 2 months ago or 3 months ago, in fact, I know if anyone could have predicted that Yingling would get into Smash Summit 11, I would have called them a liar. Like that had to have been the greatest.
It's funny. I think
marketing
if you made me guess who would get into Summit, there was no way I'd be able to pick Yingling. But I think if you asked me if Yingling could get into Summit, like 2.5 to 4, I would have been like, yeah, no, of course, he could easily do it.
No, come
No,
on.
if you showed me like a list of all the people that were up for voting, and I'd be like, yeah, you could get in.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
well,
I know
I guess
the
maybe-
power of the cheat.
like if you picked a bunch of players around their regional PR or something, like among a crew of similar players, and you asked me, oh, like pick a player who you think will be likely to make like an underdog run this summer. I guess Yingling would.
No, it's gotta be
Yingling would
Yingling,
make
dude.
sense. Yeah, out of all of them.
Yeah. I mean,
Ambi,
I would choose Matt Tyrone, but
Matt
he's
Tyrone.
he's around that level on Indiana PR. But
You know, it's funny. We're talking about Yingling making the underdog run to Summit. I remember in the old days of the old the Melee Stats server, Ambi had a prediction that Smash Bob SquarePants was going to make it into Summit.
Did I predict that he would actually make it?
Yeah, you predicted. Ambi was like, you know what? I think Smash Bob SquarePants got a fighting chance. Then he had that whole like rap video come out and everything, but he made it to like the final four. And I remember just thinking, like, God, like, don't let Ambi be right on this Smash Bob SquarePants.
I have a good nose for the good meme picks, dude. I still think if Dark Gen X made his full campaign the way that he was planning, I think he would have. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Gen X has a lot of money too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was really funny seeing like so many people get angry about the fact that Yingling they're like Smash Summit is not a popularity contest. Like
Smash is a meritocracy. If you play hard enough, you will do it, and you're ruining the sanctity.
I don't understand. It's like the only people who deserve to be at Summit are the people who qualify through events.
Yeah, that's literally why.
Like, there's literally an avenue. Like, if you're not good enough to make it to the event through that, then like I don't know what you want. Like, I think it would be so lame if it was just like a 16-person invitational with no input from the community at all about which people get selected. That'd be so boring.
Well, like it's like if the requirements are more strict, it's like, oh, you have to get top 3 in an event and then you can get in. But it's like, it's just no. Nick Yingling, maybe you could be Nick, and people act like if I was Nick Yingling, who I am half as good as, maybe less than half, I would go for it. And so would every other Smash player. So don't.
You're pretty good, Trinity. Don't sell yourself short. Maybe in like 4 months. Who knows? Maybe Gailey gets you into Summit. You never know.
That'd be fun.
Why don't we talk about another Gailey player who had a pretty good time getting into Summit? I was very happy to see LSD make it in.
Me too. Oh, trust me, me too. As his sponsor, his friend for like 5 years, we'd just love to see it. Really.
Yeah, and I hope that LSD remains committed to Melee as they seem to be, because this is definitely a running gag on the show that LSD immediately after retiring will win a tournament 3-0ing everyone through losers. Or destroying everyone. I'm actually curious to see how LSD would do against the Summit field in like a completely new environment. We were talking about like opponents that would like matchups that we want to see Leffen against. I was actually curious to see like Leffen against LSD, not because I think like Leffen would be like an underdog or anything. I just thought that was a very interesting matchup of like, you know, a completely different style of Marth than like, you know, Zane and I wonder how Leffen would treat the Sheik like against other Marths, or if he would just go Fox. I guess we'll have to wait longer to find out. But that was one matchup I was very excited to see.
I think LC is making top 8 at Summit. I think LC is going to be the next big. LC is the next big player, in my opinion. I'm not even just saying that. I just think he's.
I do know that LSD is in the Goom Wave queue, and I think that LSD just like throws a tantrum and quits whenever he doesn't have a good controller. So I think. Once he gets that controller, I have some faith that he will remain in the game for a good period of time. And in that case, I'm excited to see where he goes. But I don't know. Maybe he drops his Goom Wave in the river, and then he quits Melee again until he gets another one.
Yeah. Genuinely a very, very exciting player in and out of the game. And obviously, I am biased because I take lessons from LSD, but
really?
I, of course, always want him to do well. I do wonder, like, one matchups that I'm curious to see that LSD plays, like, against, like, a slightly higher caliber of player than the ones he's, like, played on net plays. I really wanted to see how he would do against Plup, because Sheik is a matchup that I've studied a lot of LSD in. I think he plays that matchup really brave. Like, he just, like, runs forward and spaces forward airs, just, like, right up in Sheik's face. Then after, like, 10 seconds, he will just, like, chase them down and go for some, like, crazy read that's incredibly precise. I wonder how he would do, because if I'm not mistaken,
they played, right? I feel like they.
I think they used to train with each other, but I don't know about in tournament.
Like
since
one of the SCL qualifiers or something. That's what I think. I could be wrong.
Maybe But I'm curious to see how he would do because I think he's actually positive on most of the active Sheik players. So I'm just curious to see how LSD would do in that matchup in particular.
The biggest endorsement was playing at best of 5 with LSD, and he's like, "You play like Baby Ben," and I'm like, "Thank you." Yeah, he's beaten Ben. I think. I mean, it probably has. The problem is a lot of the good Sheiks aren't active. Like Club wasn't active, but thank goodness Ben was there to fill a little voids.
Yeah. For reference, I think Swedish actually moved out of Tri-State lately, and Swedish was telling me that he started playing with LSD a lot more recently, and he thought very highly of LSD. So I guess if that's a ringing endorsement from another Sheik player, you know.
I think Swedish's opinions are very funny, so I think that could be a good or bad sign for LSD.
Swedish was telling me that like at Evo, the same Evo where he beat Armada, he was seriously considering counterpicking Wizzy with Peach in game 2, and I was like, dude, that was the most insane thing. Like I know you lost the set, but I'm so glad you didn't bring out Peach against Wizrobe. And he was like, no, I was thinking like maybe I could trick him to go to FD and like chain grab him or something. I was like, what?
Yeah, I remember Swedish played Bolt at like some hog, like some very large regional hog tournament, and like he won like 2-0 pretty easily against Bolt, and then he got on commentary and just started complaining about how Bolt did better than he was hoping he would do against him, and he was like, yeah, but then I played him in a Falco Ditto in a friendly afterwards, and I destroyed him. I should have just gone Falco in our set. He was just
I'm hearing that in his voice. That's so much funny.
Like,
I should have just gone Falco instead. Oh my god, I miss Swedish.
I ran all the calculations, and I would have double 3-stocked him with Roy. I should have done it. It's stupid.
Do y'all remember that set where Swedish like he won game 1 against Hungrybox at Shine and just went Fox the rest of the set and had the JR tag because he calls his Fox Slox Jr. It was like really close. It was down to the wire, and I remember asking him like way after. I was like, "So like, why did you go Fox against Hungrybox? And like, how is it really close?" And he was like, "Oh, like my Sheik only does well on Battlefield. I've determined. I literally can only beat him on Battlefield with Sheik, and every other stage it's hopeless."
yeah, I remember he went Luigi that one time and
Dude,
did like
yeah.
Smash and Splash. Yeah, I remember that set. That was crazy. Set. Yeah. And so did Plup. That was like a Luigi tournament, right? Like Plup and Sears.
You're thinking of CEO Dreamland in 2017.
No, Plup, I swear Plup.
No, Plup won
Luigi
Falco
at
that
a
tournament,
Smash
and then he lost to Kaon. Remember?
No,
That
that was Bad Moon Rising.
Oh, that
too.
was Bad Moon Rising, dude.
Yeah, that was
There's too many Plup tournaments. Too hard.
There's-
Plup.
Yeah, but they're all in the melee. They're weirdly in the melee stats universe.
Yeah,
we're talking about Smash and Splash. I guess that was Smash and Splash 2 when Swedish did that. I guess to circle back to LSD, who we were talking about, I saw his losers bracket performance at the big one, where after losing a admittedly very funny set to Salt, LSD proceeded to like 3-0 everyone and have like 7 3-stocks. It was one of the fastest losers runs I've ever seen in my life. The set against Snap was so sad. He just obliterated him.
Mystery secondary comes out. I wish B-Bass was there to stop LSD or like at least take a game, but did you see LSD's tech chasing? Oh my goodness, he's the future of Barth. Imagine that on land. He's tech chasing everybody. He's gonna tech chase Mango. He's gonna tech chase Wizrobe. Wizrobe's up there. He's gonna tech chase None. Everyone's getting tech chase.
Yeah, definitely one of the players I'm most excited to see at Summit. Are there any? Is there anything else about the gay one you want to talk about, like Salt?
I want to talk about Warmer. Warmer's so
Oh
sick.
yeah, Warmer.
I'm a big fan of Warmer. Just as you know, a kindred Connecticut player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always very happy to see them do well. And I don't know. I didn't get to watch the tournament, so fill me in. I saw Warmer did well. Gush to me about Warmer.
Yeah, Warmer won a really close set with Salt, and they had a really good, solid winners run. I was really excited to see Reno play in the gay one because
yeah,
it's inspiration to me. I was so funny to see Reno versus Snap in the year 2021.
Yeah, that's
because they're both just like old school players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you see like Salt's stream where he's like it's like last out game 5 against like one of the best ones of his career. And he's like, grab.
knee.
Ah! Very funny guy.
Yeah,
That's
I
how
definitely burst out laughing.
That's kind of how Spark streams. He's just like, I tuned into a stream and he's like playing Mario and he's going like, woohoo, guy. Just, like, beating people up.
I love listening to Spark talk to like Fiction and IBW and that whole
Yeah,
friend group.
their calls are very funny.
Yeah, no, I always just think it's so funny because Spark gives off this impression that he is just very clueless about everything.
Yeah.
He's
And,
not. He actually
Yeah,
knows
it's
so
like
well.
it's so funny because like I really just can't get the vibe from like IBW Fiction and all of them because they're like, dude, Spark is so good. If only he knew anything about the game. Like that's just like the vibe I get. And I'm like, no, it's okay. He's really good. But hearing them
Warmer's
talk to
had a
each other is
pretty-
so funny.
Warmer, I know. Like they were playing Puff for a little bit,
Yeah,
just like
controller
for
issues.
fun, and then I think recently they won a pretty big tri-state tournament over like the Swooper and J Flex, like in.
Are
like,
they winning
maybe in
that
the
event?
last,
I know
like-
they did well at
Yeah,
it.
no, they won. Like Warmer, the first thing that Warmer I remember like really did after I already knew about them was they won a tournament over Smuckers. I think like a couple years or a few years back, and I remember seeing this latest like performance by them before the game one at least. It kind of reminded me of that. There's so many people like that, dude. Like so many people who just like weren't super active on Rollback, but who are just hella good. And like this, I hope the big one is a reminder that those players were just those players like Warmer are still nasty.
Warmer was entering daily events with Puff a little bit before they got their new controller from Rien because they're like, my controller sucks. I'm just playing Puff until I get my new one, and then I'm like, you're my hero Falco's, like your Lent and Warmer. I love watching Falco, and they're my 3 favorites, and I was like so elated that Warmer was entering my tournaments, and then I was so happy to see them perform well at the game.
That's a very lovely group of Falcos.
Yeah.
York,
Yeah.
Linton, Warmer.
I know
like
Lynn
that
also
group.
has controller problems. That's why he hasn't been playing much. He's one player that I'm really excited to see come back if he
Yeah,
eventually
same.
gets back. 'Cause
Dude,
I
Slocks,
always-
Lint, Grants at
Yeah,
Hog.
no, I always thought he
Uh,
was so underrated. Like for the longest time. And you know, I felt like he started really popping off. And then he had a worse year, but he did make top 100 because of, you know, different balloters, I guess.
we
dude.
were always Lint. We were always
Yeah,
Lint
no,
believers.
dude, that pissed me off, dude. He had a better year, 2018? He had such a...
Ambi, we had Lint in like the 70s, and then
Yeah.
other balloters didn't have him
Like,
at all.
for
Like,
the average
what?
Melee stuff, I remember KB giving us a hard time. Being like, dude, he's not in the 70s. He's probably more like the 90s. Like, he's very clearly like 91 because of all of these Palika losses. And we were like, no,
we're
dude,
like, no, Palika's
he's
good.
in the 70s. And we were like... And then he didn't make the list. And KB was like, wow, I thought I was like the cynicist about Lint, but I guess I'm very wrong about that. I don't know.
So I'm looking at this bracket more, and I forgot this happened. A very funny run at the gay one was the Beetle King, aka Jada, making
Yeah.
top 16 with Zelda. I know they've been playing
Oh,
Zelda
did they
on
go
the
all
side.
Zelda this tournament?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Jada,
Yeah, they-
another very funny
You know,
player.
Jada's undefeated with Zelda against Polish. I don't know if that's actually true.
Is
They always
no,
talk
it's like
about
it's
it
like a
that's true.
meme.
I broke my phone cheering for Polish at SmashCon. Love Polish.
I think it's
That's
if you're gonna break your phone cheering for anyone, Polish is a very good pick for that. So
Trinity, tell us if there are any other like Gaily players we should look out for who may have not been at the gay one.
He was at the gay one, but you want to look out for Gohan.
is
He's
that
been
actually New Jersey Gohan?
Is that New Jersey Gohan?
Yeah, he's been playing for 21 years. He's
Yeah,
been playing
Gohan-
since Melee
Gohan
came out in
was-
That dude's good.
Gohan
Yeah,
eliminated
he's
me
good
from
stuff.
my very first Melee tournament in 2014.
Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah.
I used to play like back when Smash Ladder was more active. I used to play Gohan actually semi regularly. We were
Nah,
like friends on Smash
I
Ladder.
played him and then I didn't hear anything from him for like I want to say 5 years, and then he just starts entering the Gale stuff. I was like, what? Is that
Yeah,
the
that
same
was
guy?
surprising to me too.
Yeah.
He queued up in our looking for a games channel. Destroyed me. Well, it didn't destroy me, but he beat me pretty bad. And I'm like, what? Who are you? And I'm like, let me switch up a box, and he still beat me, and I'm like, what? Who are you? And so
No,
I'm
he's
just like,
good. Yeah, no.
That's a very
Oh.
common reaction to playing someone from New Jersey. Who are
Swagger,
you?
Swagger beat. Swagger beat. You gotta look out for Swagger beat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I haven't heard of them.
Yeah, their most recent performance, they beat like Mega Man. I don't know if you know who Mega Man is. Emunder. I don't know. They're from SoCal. They're pretty good.
Oh, Eminder. Okay.
And then they beat Mom from
Oh shit,
Mom the Peach Main.
that's hella good.
Yeah, I really think they're pretty good.
What
really
was
proud of them.
what was running the gay one like from your end? Like how was everything?
It was really fun. I was kind of feeling nervous the day of, but I just realized that I've run this before and I can just do this the way I've always done it and it'll turn out fine. And we ran like 2 hours ahead of schedule and we ran a bit too well because the players had to wait a long time for top 4. But yeah, I was really excited. There was some wobbling discourse. I'm like
Nice.
about to unban wobbling because like I'm not gonna name names, but like in the middle of a set, he sends me the sipping replays like, is this 4 pummels? And I'm like, yes. And then it like stops the set for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, I'm gonna give this guy the game win because you just paused the game for 10 minutes asking if he wobbled, and I'm like, but yeah, I want to unban wobbling just because like ice climbers are already so bad, like you don't want to do that to them.
I want to do that to them. I'm shameless.
dude.
I don't have a good like logic for it or anything. I mean, I think I did a while ago, but I'm fully like this is totally self-serving. That's it. That's
mean,
not
I'm
even
a-
a character.
I'm a chic man. I get wobbled regardless.
No,
So
True.
I don't know, dude. The wobbly discourse is always so funny to me. It's like, I don't know. I feel bad talking about it because it was always like one of my better matchups, so it just like doesn't affect me at all. But it's like, I just want everyone involved in the discourse to be bullied. I just want like the worst outcome for everyone, right?
Everyone
'Cause,
involved.
Like I just like, dude, the ice climbers, they're like, I'm gonna quit the game if you ban wobbling. And then like the people that like pause their tournament sets because they're like, that was 4,
Yeah.
that was 4.
Yeah,
was
that's
fine, that was fine.
that's lame.
Yeah, like, you guys need to go outside.
Touch grass.
Like, dude, he did 5 pummels instead of 4. Just let it go, dude. Like,
I also, while we're on topic, I want to bring up Hua, who's also a Peach main. They're really
Is
good.
Schwa from NYU?
No idea. I know they're East Coast.
Okay, I think I've seen that name at a couple brackets before. I would have to research them a little more, but they're a Peach player?
Yeah,
Okay. There you go.
I think they're playing a bit of Fox now too. And then yeah, I think that's it.
that's it. If you aren't mentioned by Trin, you have not made the list. You
I
heard it
mean,
here first.
yeah, I'm only mentioning ones that didn't enter the gay one, and a lot of all the gamers entered the gay one. We're actually having a PR come out tomorrow.
Oh, can you give us a waiting for game sneak peek? The PR.
I'm gonna give you my ballot of.
Oh, that's great. This is great content.
Ooh, this is
So
spicy.
we have 5 people. So number 0, I have B-Bats because they didn't enter enough. They only entered 2 tournaments.
Okay.
1, I have LSD. Number 2, I have Aura. Number 3, I have Slow King. Number 4, I have Salt, Thickion, Golden, Snap, Gohan, Solomon, Diplomatic Toucan. You know Solomon, right?
Yeah.
Flatline, and then honorable mentions are Hua, Fence Turtle, Larfin, Junk, and Tarchwood. And the most improved are Fallen, Swaggerby, Noro, and the low-tier hero is Kaczynski Kong.
Damn, that's pretty. What about Spinda and Elysian?
Elysian is not in the Discord anymore, and Spinda did not enter tournaments.
Okay. Damn, that's a pretty
Yeah, that's
stacked
stacked.
PR.
That's a great crew.
That's hella
Yeah, it's
good.
crazy. It's really
Do you guys
good.
plan
We're
on
all
entering
super
like
good.
Shine Cruise or something? I feel like that'd be really fun to watch if that like ever
yeah.
comes back.
Yeah, and we're at Riptide. We're gonna be on the mainstream doing Gaily Cruise.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah.
That's pretty sick. How about Kuyashi?
Kyoshi, like, only enters Summit and stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
God bless them. We love them, but that's just what they do.
All
So
good.
it's like
Yeah.
you can enter Summit and you can enter the gay one, but you have to have entered at least one other tournament to get in. So you have to like interact with communities once. But
So who is the number one? Like, if there was a Gaily Arcadian, who takes it in your opinion?
Swagger V. Well, no, I don't know. Probably B-Bass, but I wouldn't let them enter. But
Yeah,
uh,
assuming people that are allowed to enter.
Audrey would be a good pick. Mista would be a good pick.
Oh, Misa's good.
Oh, Misa's nasty. They play
But-
Falcon, right?
Yeah, Mista's
Florida?
Yeah. Mista from Western Florida, 119 Mista. I could see Mega Man taking it. Yeah, I would say Mega Man, Audrey, or Mista.
My money's on Misa.
I would enter
Yeah,
two, I think, even though I would enter two just to see if I can get top 8, because it gets more stacked every year. I think
Is New
Swagger
Guy part
V-
of Melee or Gaily?
Yeah, New Guy just recently came out as Pan, and they just entered. I gotta win a New Guy, no big deal.
Let's go.
Are there any other future Gaily plans that you can give us a sneak peek in for after the PR?
IRL Summit,
Ooh.
Ooh, where's that gonna be held?
Okay.
East Coast. That's all I got. I'm talking to people.
That's super exciting.
But yeah. It's the Gaily segment, I guess. Yeah,
All right, I think. Yeah, go on.
But yeah, if there's anybody watching that wants to join Gaily, just go to melee.gay if you're gay. Yeah. But yeah, we're doing IRL Summit. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of money out of my
Hell
pocket.
yeah.
Trady, are you ready for the part of the night you're most excited for?
Edwin Bunny Stock Exchange. Edwin
Yeah.
Bunny Stock Exchange.
Taking on you're not taking on the king of the stock exchange, but you are taking on Ambi, who beat the king. So
I
you're
just wrote-
basically you're taking on like the beater of the king,
The God's
the god slayer, the God, I can't even think of like a good pop culture now.
The Azin of the Edwin Bunny Stock Exchange.
The Azin.
The Azin.
The
king
wheat
is
harvester.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Azin always lost to Ken. That's the only thing. This is like
I
God,
think we're
Wheat's gonna
getting
hate this one.
derailed a little bit.
Yeah, Wheat's gonna lecture me after this show. Okay, well, I think you know how to play, but just for the sake of procedure and for anyone who's not familiar, the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange is basically a roundtable panel in which I asked the other two members of the show, or three, the hardest hitting questions in Melee framed through the lens of stock market. So there's 3 segments. The first segment is called Buy One, Sell One, which I name 2 things, and each panelist has to tell me which of those 2 things they're buying and which of those 2 things they're selling. They have to buy one and sell one. The next segment is called Is It a Bubble, which is where I name a stock that currently is at high valuation or high value within the community. And then for the final segment, we'll have a market watch, which is kind of like a more open-ended grab bag set of questions. You folks ready?
Yeah, I'm very ready.
All right, Trady, tell me, buy one, sell one, Frozen Stadium and Frozen Fountain of Dreams.
I'm gonna buy Frozen Stadium and still Frozen Fountain of Dreams. I don't think Frozen. I've never heard anybody who is in favor of Frozen FOD. I really think we would probably freeze Wispy before we freeze FOD, but Pokemon Stadium is practically already frozen. I would be surprised if it's frozen at Summit. I don't see anything else in competitive Melee right now that disrupts the game state more than transformations, so I'm gonna have to sell the Frozen FOD. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. Ever.
Ambi?
So I'm the opposite. So I'm going to buy Frozen FOD and sell Frozen Stadium. I think Frozen Stadium is obviously the more objectively beloved thing within the community. I think it is very invasive to a lot of the TOs that run majors. I think it'd be hard pressed for me to imagine anything so visible happening, like at the big house or something. Frozen FOD, I think, is complicated. Like, I think Frozen FOD is one that weirds me out a little bit because I never think it's really well defined. Like, are you going to freeze them at a fixed height? But I did have this suggestion that I told to Chef Rock, which is that you change the minimum low height of the platform to be just above the platform or the bottom of the stage, and then you never get destroyed by the platform suddenly coming up from the ground and eating your dash or whatever. And I think that is indistinguishable from normal gameplay where you get really lucky. So I actually think that that's more like UCF and it's more invisible, and I think it's more likely to happen than boomer TOs doing something that could upset Nintendo. So I am the opposite of Trent on this one.
I just think the Nintendo, like, the
Wait,
whole, like...
this is the stock exchange. This is the stock exchange. Amy got the last word on this one. It's okay. You don't know who won the point yet. I know it's really exciting and nerve-wracking to be on the stock exchange and hosting it as well. Anyways, so the second buy one sell one question, Ambi, you gotta buy one or sell one between Minnesota and Michigan.
Oh, I'm going to buy Michigan and sell Minnesota. I think Minnesota is one of those places where it's really hard to travel from, but really easy to play net play from. And I think that Michigan people perform pretty well out of state compared to Minnesota people. I think that traveling out of Minnesota is really, really hard. And I think that these players will remain on net play compared to Michigan people who will travel to events and can locally go to the big house. So I'm a little bit of a buy on Michigan, at least relative to the perception of the community.
And Trendy?
I'm going to agree with Ambi here. I think Michigan is only going up. I think it's one of the stronger regions. Minnesota is doing well too. I don't think I see Absapage coming back. I can only think of like Preeminent and Ben, who are like the people, if I'm wrong on that one. But like Michigan, I think Duck's coming back. So I think right now the stock is low because you think of Duck, and Duck's not around. So, you know, it's a little bit, it's on a dip, right? You have Kuyashi, you have Ginger, and then you see people see Duck entering with his brand new Sheik, and you're like, see a bit of Raisin you could sell. You know, I there's some profit if you buy Michigan now. So, but you know, Ben is a superpower on net play right now because there's like a void, and I think once IRL comes back, you know, we're gonna see a dip in the value.
All right, and then for the last question of buy one, sell one, Trinity, you gotta buy one and sell one between Marth mains and Fox mains.
I'm gonna have to buy. I don't want to sell either, but I'll have to buy Fox mains and sell Marth mains. You know, Leffen picking up Sheik, Fox just getting better and better. We have 9 Foxes in summer right now, 2 Mars. I don't want to make this a rant about Fox, but the meme that 20XX is coming. It's coming, you know. That's all I'm saying.
Ambi, you get the last word.
I'm a buy on Marth players. I'm a sell on Fox players. I think that my analogy for both of these characters is Yoshi, where there's a time lag between when people that were inspired by Amsa being really good at Yoshi became good themselves with Yoshi, and now we have a bunch of other really good Yoshis. And I think that the trend for the time lag of like 4 or 5 years after the player is really good, super upswing for Marth players now that Zane is like pretty indisputably the best player right now. So over the long haul, like who's the second best Marth after Zane right now? It's like Kodorin. But like give it like 4 years, it's gonna be like 7 Marth players in the top 50. Whereas I think with Fox players, the Foxes are struggling right now, and you know, our hero is trapped in Europe, unable to get out of the country. So I'm definitely a sell on the Fox player. Very not inspiring time to be a Fox player, IMO at the moment.
Well, on that note, we're going to move forward to the first question of the Is It a Bubble segment. Ambi, I want you to tell me, is Kata on 70 plus ping a bubble?
I think Kata is a huge bubble. I think Kata, I don't know. I think that Samus is really overrated. I think that any character that can crouch really well is broken on high ping. So I think I'm of the belief that it's a bubble.
And Trinity?
Yeah, Kata is also a bubble. I remember LFC losing to Kata on like super high ping, and they're just like, next time see me on Arte's intercontinental build. And I was like, is it really that good? and I played it with Terol, the Sheik main, and we both agreed. She thought it was really, really good connection. It was playable, yeah. And my connection and my house when I'm not in my dorm is awful, and we were just like playing with like a few spikes, but I think that's the ultimate Kata counter.
The intercontinental build.
The intercontinental
That's awesome.
That's funny. Trinity, Is Ringler at Verdugo West a bubble?
I'm sorry, what?
Is Ringler at his locals a bubble?
I haven't been keeping up with the results. I'm sorry.
Okay, Ambi,
so-
you give your answer.
I'm gonna win this point, but I don't deserve it. I have also not been following Ringler that closely.
Oh
but
my god!
I do think that the Ringler stock is gonna go down when other people figure out how good Mojo Monkey is, and that is my informed take. Is that Ringler is good and everything. When more people know about Mojo Monkey, Ringler won't be like the fun shiny Donkey Kong anymore, and that's what I'm saying.
Just reference Ringler recently beat Null at a local. Has been doing pretty well. All right. Ambi, for the last question of the Is It a Bubble segment, is 100 grand in Minnesota a bubble?
No way he's a bubble. No way. He 100 grand is definitely the Melee Stats like internal time capsule for how good people were before Rollback. And I think that the idea of 100 grand being a bubble to me just represents the idea that the level of the game has gotten so high or whatever. I think I don't know if that's true or not, but I want to believe that 100 grand is not a bubble. This is like my first truly irrational answer, but I would just love to see 100 grand beat all sorts of people. And it's just like the discourse being about how everyone is so good now being completely challenged. That'd be so funny.
All right, Trady, you get the last word.
Yeah, the question is, will they be active in Minnesota? How will they stack up against like Slayer and Primitive and Ben? You know, I think Ben kind of outshining 100 grand. Slayer kind of outshining 100 grand. Primitive also. Team compo coach outshining 100 grand. Would be probably the 5th or 6th players whose stock I buy from Minnesota. So I think it's a bubble.
Okay, so you're saying it is a bubble.
Yeah.
Okay. And for the final question of the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange, Trinity, I want you to tell me, not counting Ginger, which Michigan player are you investing in for the next 2 years?
I mean, for multiple reasons. Being my friend, having played against them, watching their play, and watching their dedication, I'm investing all my stocks into Kuyashi. I think they're gonna be crazy. I remember. I mean, I've been a Kuyashi follower for years. I remember their run at Show Me Your Moves or House of Pain was one of them, where they just destroyed everyone, like West Balls, I think. But I've had money in Kuyashi for a long time now, and I'm doubling down now. So.
And Ambi, you get to close the segment.
I think you get better value on Kuyashi, but I think there's a higher EV on Duck. I think Duck is going to come back, and I think that Duck is a particularly interesting one because I think that if he comes back and he's the same level that he was with Samus, it's not a good buy at all. I think Kuyashi is like obviously a better choice, but I actually think Duck is going to change the game. I think Duck's going to come back and he's going to do a bunch of shit that like none of the Sheiks are doing, and everyone's going to start copying Duck, and you know, like the Sheiks are going to start complaining in new Duck-like ways about how edgeguarding is so hard. The culture is going to shift. The culture is going to shift really, really hard for Sheik players around Duck-isms, and I think that alone makes it worth buying. So I'm gonna buy on Duck.
Yeah, I'm excited thinking about that.
So this is a very fun, if not brief, stock exchange. I admire the efforts by both contestants, and at the end of the day, I have to give it to MeleeSadPosts for the stock exchange. So congratulations, Trinity. You've won your only entrance and your only appearance and debut on the Edwin Budding Stock Exchange. So now you know what to do. You get a minute of fame to talk about whatever you want.
I didn't think I'd win, but I want to talk about VBATs. Probably one of the hardest grinders I've ever met in Smash. Truly, just like the antagonists, the protagonists, sorry. Antagonists of my world, the protagonists of the Melee world. They're just improving at an insane pace. I know MeleeStats probably talks about VBATs all the time. Anyway, so I'm probably wasting my time here. I love VBATs. I don't know. Keep doing your stuff, Vats. Gately
You
Summit
can
was
do it,
cool.
Vivats.
LSD's gonna be top 10 in the future.
I love the "I'm from Jersey" the Cory Booker gif whenever BBats talks at our server. I'm from Is BBats entering the big one this week?
They can't because they're in Summit.
Okay.
Yeah, Yingling, LSD, and then I think Moki were all kicked out of bracket because they didn't want interfering.
Wait, BBats is wait, hold on. Why can't B is BBats invited?
Did
or,
I say?
like,
Did I say? Did I say BBats?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
say BBats.
We were talking about BBats entering the big one.
Oh,
And you gave the reason LSD is not in.
Yeah,
I
I was.
thought you
very
said is
confused.
LSD entering the big one. I don't know why.
No, I was very confused. I thought you were saying that because BBats got like a VIP ticket or something that
No.
that they weren't gonna.
Yeah,
And
BBats is entering. Yeah,
Yeah, that's exciting.
they said that they have H4 and Gots in the top 32. I think they could be H4, and I think they could be.
I think H-Traw is probably terrified. H-Traw does not like Peach.
H4's so good. I can play against like top players, and I could like feel good sometimes. Like, just play against like really good players. But for some reason, I play against H4. I think it's crazy. There's crazy things.
They had a pretty close set with Ben, right?
H-Traw? That sounds right.
Definitely was
Fox
one
Fox
of them
Fox
after.
versus Sheik. That sounds like it would be hard. So no, I'm with it.
Yeah, so why don't we talk a little bit about the people we're excited to see at the big one, because we're seeing a lot of like the net play grinders come out, but also a lot of figures from the past who we just haven't seen in a while to have a handle on how they would perform in the field. I know we talked about this a little bit in the pregame show, but I mentioned Darktooth as one of the names I'm especially excited for. You know, like this was someone who, when he returned to just, you know, an event sometime last year in the summer, you know, he took a set off none. He beat Zane's Roy, which we now know is a tremendous accomplishment. I think when KJH was when KJH was still doing events, he beat KJH also. So I'm very excited to see how Darktooth would do. I think that guy in general, like I know he stopped competing, but he, in my opinion, if he kept playing, he would be where like Aklo is right now. He had a lot of potential.
Yeah, I agree. What's he doing? Like a music teaching or something?
Yeah, I
something,
think he
some
does
like
music
actual
teaching.
job stuff, which is like probably really fulfilling and stuff.
Yeah, Darktooth definitely one of the players that I've missed a lot in the last like
Yeah, I like
year and a
Darktooth
half.
a lot. I thought his playstyle was really cool. Personally, maybe this is a cop out answer. I'm really excited to see Fiction. If Fiction rolls out of bed and actually plays his round one, and then doesn't just enter the tournament into DQ and then play Oven and then DQ. But I think it doesn't really matter what character Fiction decides he wants to play. I think I'm very excited for all of it. I really think that Fiction's Falco could become the second best Falco. I've watched a little bit of him play IBDW because they play pretty frequently on stream and stuff, and I just think that Fiction's Falco is so cool. I think it's like a type of Falco that we don't really see very frequently.
How so?
Well, I just think it's like it really feels like there's like a lot of thought of the entire kit, right? Like I don't know if you watched any of his no laser Falco stuff.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I think that like there really feels like there's an effort to understand like how good all the different spots are. I'm probably not like explaining this right because it's like kind of abstract in my head, but like the way that that Fiction plays it to me feels a lot more of like I'm trying to figure out what like the best way to go from point A to point B is in any given spot. Whereas I think the counterplay, like the way that most Falcos structure their neutral game is mostly just around the laser. It feels kind of like more limited. So like Fiction's Falco looks really different in my opinion to the other Falcos, and I'm just like really excited to see where it goes because it's like a very innovative approach to the character. I don't know. He could go Fox. I love his Fox too. So whatever Fiction decides to do, as long as it's entering the tournament in some capacity, I'll be pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Fiction. I'm really excited to watch Slox and Boyd too.
Like, yeah, sorry, go on.
Just like I love watching the Midwest. I love watching Boyd. I think He's got some crazy wins. One of the I know this gets thrown around a lot. I think it's pretty underrated, even though he was top 100 at one point. And I'm excited to see Slox just because it just reminds me of what used to be. Like you get so accustomed to all these like net play players, and you're like, oh yeah, one of the best players right now. You know, like all these players are people that we might not see as much, and then you remember how deep the melee top pool is because you're like, wait a minute, I haven't seen Slox play melee in like a year, and you're like, there's so many players like that, like Swedish, like this. I don't know. It just reminds me of how deep the top pool is. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you bring up Slox because I think he had a couple or like a few events that he entered and then DQ'd out of early or just kind of wasn't feeling it and went other characters. Um, I'm kind of curious to see what his return is like because I think that was someone who had a lot higher like punching potential to like Slox and a Fox Ditto against a lot of like the up and coming Foxes. I thought was a very scary opponent for a lot of them. Like the first thing that always comes to mind is when he 3-0'd Jerry at Pound like
That
right
was
after
so weird.
Jerry,
That was an
yeah,
insanely
right after Jerry beat,
insane.
right
tournament
after
for
Jerry beat
yeah.
after he beat KGH and Lucky, Slox just like stopped him in his tracks.
Yeah,
Slox I think is like a very scary opponent for a lot of the like I think he has a really good sense of like cooling off faster, like the faster like I remember when Cyrox was getting good, Slox money matched him and stuff. Like I think Slox is very good against that like kind of rising Fox player. I wonder how he would do against a lot of like the net play grinders. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. I think you know who I noticed actually in the attendance list? I noticed Cactar. I haven't
Yeah,
seen that guy in
Cactuar.
so long.
Cactuar and Reno in the same tournament.
Yeah, who would have thought? This is like 2011. Like, what are these two doing here?
You know, I'm
Any
excited.
of you remember when Cactar randomly beat Wizzy at HGC Throwdown with Marth?
I
That's
think
one
you
of the
just
funniest.
know all of Wizzy's losses because of that video that you made. I think people
Yeah.
don't remember that.
Anyone remember when Wizzy lost to RK? Like,
I actually do.
Yeah, he had
okay,
food poisoning at that tournament, right?
yeah, and RK, I think like he
RK
noticed
was the
that
first person that knew dashback. That was his
yeah,
thing, right?
noticed that Wizzy couldn't dash back out of crouch.
Yeah.
It's actually so
It's
funny.
so funny in hindsight that's just like it became like this meta-defining thing. Because I remember the way he would talk about it, like on social media and stuff. He's like, I found a flaw in Wizzy's tech chasing. And, like you go back and watch it, he just like texts it every single time. It's like the flaw.
Yeah, I think like with fiction and you know like players of that caliber, like Darktooth even like we like if you told me like let's say you came from the future and you told me that like Darktooth won the event as the like 12th seed or whatever he is, you know, I would believe you. I feel like this event is it's about as stacked as a tournament can be without featuring like the very top level players, which I think makes it really exciting. This is like a level of excitement I have entering event that I think like the last time I can remember something like this, it would have had to have been like Pat's House 3 or like the Twitch Holiday Bash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just
I
like
love these
that
type of
the
events.
second.
I also think it's
I
like
always
a nightmare to seed, probably, right? Like, I remember talking to Wheat a little bit about how he plans on seeding the tournaments moving forwards, and it's just like I can't even imagine how you would do it because there's just like this completely conflicting body of information based on how everyone's doing on netplay, and like there are all these people that are like, yeah, you know, that guy is probably like top 30, and then you look at like all of the other 80 top 30 players, and you're like,
yeah.
is he still top 30? Like, that's a hard one. Yeah.
For
Do
me,
we have
I,
any-
I just feel like it's gonna be just Wizzy beating everybody, and then like, do you think
Maybe.
Wizzy just got a free spot? I don't know. I feel like Wizzy has a free spot.
I actually heard that Wizzy wasn't going to be able to enter.
Yeah, I don't
because
think
of,
he's
because of like internet
he's not in this
issues.
bracket, I don't think.
He's in the attendance list, but I read somewhere that he's not going to be able to play because he has like a commitment. Ergo, he was very sad about not making it to Summit.
Yeah, no, he definitely has Gatsu in his path, so Who knows
Yeah,
what
the-
could happen?
the infamous words of Ambi Sinister. All he has to do is not lose to Gatsu, and he'll be number one in the world.
The hardest thing to do as a Falcon
Yeah.
player.
What? Just it's over.
I think it's really as hard as possible bracket. Just have a Gatsu right there, and halfway through the East Coast bracket. It's like, oh no, dude.
One thing
know
I
what
never
would be-
bet on is the Falcon Dittos. Like I'll never put any money on Wizzy versus None versus SJ versus Wizrobe because I'm always like completely proven wrong. Whatever I do, it's like
Yeah, remember that Falcon round robin at like Super Nibs 3?
oh yeah,
And
Yeah. That feels
it was,
so long
It was
ago.
so boring. That was like back when people thought Falcon Dittos were super cool, and it was like Wizzy doing up their tech chase regrab 50 million times, and then like all the rest of them being like, should we be doing that? Like you had like Yappy who would like do his like edge cancel stomps to camp the platforms, and then he would like get a grab and like he would freeze and he'd be like, should I up throw? Like I usually down throw. You know.
Have you ever heard Toph's theory of like the hero and Falcon theory, or the hero and villain theory for Falcon Dittos? That like in order to have an exciting Falcon Ditto, you can't just have two people tech chasing each other because then it's just like boring. But you can't just have two people who are like trying to style on each other because then it's just ridiculous. Like you're watching a friendly. So you need a hero and you need a villain and a Falcon Ditto. So like Wizzo versus None is always exciting. For example, that's like his go. That was his go-to example. That's one of the more random random theories.
I feel like Toph has a lot of theories. I feel like that's a thing with him. Like his Luigi
Maybe.
theory comes to mind. Remember that?
What's a Luigi theory?
It's every Luigi player is either a good-looking white guy or looks like Luigi, which I thought was pretty good. And I think I talked to Ipengu a little bit about this because Ipengu is like a super believer in the Luigi theory, and his big
definitely a very funny player to be.
yeah no, and his big one was because he hung out with Voodoo Jin. And, like, apparently, like, Voodoo Jin, like, shaved his facial hair. And he turned from looking like Luigi to a good-looking white guy. And, like Zane was like, dude, look. And he, like, showed me a picture of Voodoo Jin on his phone. And it was, like, a very nice
I'm
photo.
imagining... This is so funny imagining, like, Zane's real-life reaction.
Yeah.
Dude, look! He pulls it out from his phone.
it's like a big poster board of like lines and stuff and pictures. If you look at him here and here, it's like the exact same person.
Yeah. I remember because
Does
it
Matt
was...
Tyro fit the description at all? I don't know.
He
what-
might be breaking the mold. I don't know. That's an
Uh,
interesting one.
Matt Tyro, he's not bad looking. He's got nice hair.
Is he white, though? I haven't seen Matt Tyro's...
Yeah, I don't know.
Twitter
I don't know what Matt
I
Tyro
don't
looks
know.
like.
I've hung out with Matt Tyro a lot. He used to be at my house all the time. I think he's white. His name is Khalil. Yeah, I think he's white.
Yeah.
He's cool.
But yeah,
He's
no,
not ugly.
this Ipengu thing actually happened at Edwin's wedding. I just remember that little detail of it is that he was wearing his like formal wear at Adonok's Indian wedding, and just like Edwin in the background, like with his wife, like looking like he's the happiest person in the world, and then like Ipengu showing me.
Yeah, this is like, I'm learning this just today. This is all the stuff that was going on while I was having an out-of-body experience. It's very funny.
I remember you trying to explain to my fiance that I have feelings. At that
I never
event.
said that. I never said that. I said you're such an empath, not that you have feelings. That's a gross distortion. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking through the attendance list just to see like like outside shots or people who are likely to win. And I actually we were talking about Kuyashi earlier, and I think that's definitely someone who could take this event with the right bracket. If we're talking about like sleeper picks or outside shots. I remember like earlier in the year, Kuyashi actually won a whole event over Ginger, and I believe they either won it from losers or they beat Ginger twice to win it too. So that was like one of their most like really impressive showings.
I got blocked from Ginger from that. I got blocked by Ginger at that event because he tweeted like, "Oh, it's so hard to beat a Marth that teleports across the stage," and I'm like, "We love our humble top 10 players able to accept losses with grace," and they just blocked me, and I'm like,
Oh no. I still can never get over the poll Ginger had to his fans of like,
Oh no! Don't
am I
bring
top
this up.
10?
I feel like we talk about this once every like 4 episodes about how Ginger's fans are like, no.
Yeah, even Ginger's fans just like love him. Just like, Ginger, I love and respect your grind. I think what you're doing for the scene and what you're doing for yourself is amazing. I don't know if you're top 10 yet. Even Ginger's fans, like, come on. Can you just be like, yeah, you're top 10. You can do it.
Maybe top 15.
I don't know. Magi's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I actually think that discussion for like 2, 3, and 4 for the Falco players is really interesting. Ambi, don't I know you're gonna say that Fiction is
Well, I don't know
your
if he is
second
now. I think he can be. I think it'd be kind of ridiculous to say that, given that Fiction doesn't enter stuff. I think the clear second best right now is either Ginger or Frenzy, depending on how much weight you apply to Europe. I think Frenzy passes the eye test for me, but like obviously Ginger's got like results against good players in America. But I think Magi is also like super in that conversation. A very, very talented player, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think she.
Ginger enter. Rollback? Oh yeah, he's in.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah, he's in there.
I think Frenzy for me is like in my head I have him around the same level as Albert, who is notoriously someone I have no idea how to evaluate, because every time I see Albert against like a tough opponent and he beats him, I'm like, oh wow, that's a good performance for Albert. So clearly I just like keep perpetually underrating him.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess maybe Frenzy's in the same kind of player that I don't have a good grasp on, but certainly by the eye test I seem to think he's around that level.
I saw Shrimp on the list. It's like somebody who doesn't really enter a lot. I'm excited to see what he does. I love to watch Sheik.
Sorry,
So
who
who
is
are
it?
your Shrimp?
Oh, Shroomed. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen him that much, which is
How funny would it
exciting.
be if Shroomed won?
That would be
Shroomed
very
won the
classic
qualifier
Summit,
beginning.
right? Like
That would be super Summit. Yeah, Shrimp just like gets in there. I mean, nobody questions it. Shrimp just in Summit.
he would fit right in, right? It would be, Shroomed is at this event.
Yeah.
And does Shroomed have internet again? I remember that was a big thing where he would like play from someone else's apartment. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's playing it.
I thought he was playing from his mom's apartment.
Was it his mom? That's really funny, actually.
Oh my god, I just thought of the craziest thing. Ambi, what if Mog makes it to Summit?
I think that would be. I don't know. I don't have any opinion about Mog being at Summit. Like if he's at Summit, I won't really pay any mind to that as by itself. I think a Mog placing high enough in this tournament to qualify
To
for
win
Summit,
or place top 2.
it would have to be the funniest run I've ever seen a Peach make. I'm just imagining like Mog beating Ginger, and like what that would look like, right? Just like
It's happened.
Yeah.
We have a familiarity with
Right.
what it looks like.
and like just like at this big event, Ginger is like one match away from making it to Summit. All he has to do is beat Mog, and Mog like jumps and floats to the platform, and then down smashes 4 times in a row.
What a terrifying matchup. This is who you have to beat to make it to Summit. Mog.
Yeah.
That's every Falco player's nightmare.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think the Mog Magi money matches were so funny.
Oh, I didn't see these. How did these go?
They were good sets. Mog's nasty.
You can't just say that and not elaborate.
No, it's exact. All I'm gonna say is it's exactly what you'd imagine. I think they played three sets, right?
Mhm.
I think or after they played in Cruise, Mog won the first money match, Magi won the second, and I think Magi won the third one, if I'm not mistaken.
That's funny.
They were good sets though. Magi is someone else who I think could probably win this event.
Yeah, she's my number one hope. I really want Magic to get in. I really want Fiction. I just want Fiction to get in. I just want to see him play. I just love the dynamic he brings.
Just the Falcons.
Yeah, all
get the
three of
Falcons
us are
in there.
big Fiction fans. All right. Well, I guess before we head into our patron question segment, why don't we make predictions on who we think will make Summit for through the big one? And I guess with that, our prediction for who will win the event. Ambi, do you want to start?
For who's gonna win, or how many slots is
Yeah.
there again?
2.
2 slots. It's gonna be Wizrobe and Fiction. That's my prediction.
And Trinity?
It's gonna be Magi and S2J.
Very similar genre to my picks.
Yeah. If Wizrobe was going, I would say Wizrobe and Magi. But...
I'm gonna say Gatsu and Zamu for my picks.
Oh, those are good picks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gatsu-
Zamu's entering?
Yeah, Zamu's in here. I think Zamu's been playing pretty well recently too, and he's
every
he's
event
got his
Zamu's
Goom Wave
gone to,
now,
he's done.
right? That's another one.
Every event Zamu's gone to, he's done really well.
Yeah, he's full time now, right? He's full time streaming stuff.
Yeah, full-time streamer. Got sponsored.
Let's go, Zamu.
Yeah, reads Lennon on stream also. Reviews it with his fans. It's great. Zamu was part of a book club that I was in. That was all about like reading leftist stuff. It was pretty fun. All right, I'm gonna look through my I'm gonna look through the questions that we have for you, Trinity. Usually this is the time where I talk about what kind of questions we got from patrons, and I gotta say the ones we got from patrons this week were a little disappointing. So
Well, I think they weren't that bad. It's just they were very hard to translate to a podcast format. So like, there's one that I'm that I thought was good, but it was also like very difficult. It's from Zach 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. I'll do my best to translate it to like a verbal question. Fill in the blank to the best of your ability. If all my Project Peppy players, and it's a Jigglypuff emoji, Marth emoji, Fox emoji, Sheik emoji, drowning, and then like the scream emoji and a wave, and I can only save one, and like the determined emoji and the grimace emoji. Catch me at the funeral, sad ghost rose. Playing friendlies at the setup with blank, 100, 100, 100.
This is so hard. This is like killing six people.
I thought you were gonna say brain cells for a second.
I mean, I'd probably say Spinda. I'd say Spinda. Yeah, I'd be playing Princess of Spinda. We'd be playing rats, and we'd be upping on the stage and going beat beat.
That'd be pretty good, yeah. Just like LSD, like drowning.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't get the goodest of it. Yeah, Spinda won my house tournament over Travioli.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty hype.
I have a
bottle on my table.
I have a good one from YCZ that I'm just gonna reform out a little bit. What's your best tweet, or what tweet are you most proud of? That's gone viral, presumably.
I mean, probably I'm the best Melee player on acid in this Walmart.
That's a good one.
Or just like that picture of that kid with the gun, and it's like, Mom, please do not turn off my GameCube while I'm at school. I'm trying to unlock Mewtwo. It's a picture of Frieza and Super Smash Bros. Melee.
It's pretty good.
Here's another one from Zach 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Do you have a proudest moment that comes to mind from the work you've done with Team Combo, Gaily, Peppy?
When it comes to Gaily, it's just I was working with 5 days of Melee to do the crew battle, and I had to do like a what Melee means to me thing. So what Gaily means to me. So I made a forums, and a lot of people responded with just like how Gaily, like, they met their partner, they like reformed their life, or like they like say that from a depressive episode or for quarantine, they have to come to terms with their own sexuality, and that made me really happy. And seeing everybody take pictures with their merch on and stuff and send it to me, and that made me happy. In regards to Team Combo, just like seeing a lot of the players that I had help get coached, talk about how much they love Melee and keep playing. And I'll tell you, with West Coast, I have some of the most devoted, gifted fucking players anybody's ever gonna see, and like I'm stunned by some of the players. I don't know. I'm just really proud of like DevDog and Valparia and Influenza and how far they've gone, and Catbug and how much they've grinded. Yeah.
That's a very wholesome answer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Blur
Yeah,
had a good couple of questions, which I thought maybe a good follow up to that question is what is the Galley Discord doing that other people should do that aren't doing yet? Because I know that you're very much on that wave. We were talking earlier in the pre-show about how you think that Discord is so much better than Smashboards ever was, and I think that might have something to do with your involvement in this Discord. So, what are you guys doing that other people could be doing better?
I mean, there's a lot of things I could be doing better too, but it's just like trying to keep up communication and keeping the community involved and having channels for everything and like kind of pay attention to everybody's requests and making sure like nothing is brushed off as silly. I don't know. In regards to tournament hosting, we're just I like to like try to shout out community members a lot and give community members a spotlight that usually get it, and like I just like do the top 8 graphics every week, and they're all custom, and it makes it. And like people are like, "Oh, what's the top 8 graphic? What's the top 8 graphic?" Or I want to make top 8, so I get on one of the graphics because they all just like graphics I make. And I don't know. I like put community first, and then because Gaily was a community before I even ran tournaments, so I'm trying to keep it that way with it, and trying to keep it from being just a tournament thing.
So I actually have a question for you on that note. As far as like the creation of Gaily goes, did it scale bigger than you could have imagined, or was this the kind of response and like involvement that you expected when you made it?
I think it. I think it's. If somebody told me, I said yeah, but I just expected it to be just like a little Discord of like 100 people. And that's kind of how it was for a bit, and then I was like, I'm gonna host a tournament, and then I'm like, there's so many good players in here. What if we just hosted an invitational? So I hosted Gaily Summit, and then we went from 300 forum members to 800, and then I went to 5 days in Melee, and I got platformed there, and I was like, whoa. And then I talked to Emily Waves about how she grew Smash Dishes, and I just followed her advice. And yeah, it's just bigger than I could ever imagine. It's gonna get bigger probably.
How many people are in your Discord?
Like 1,200 right now.
That's awesome.
Oh wow,
1,200
that's
gay smashers.
hell yeah.
And I don't do everything perfectly. I could be better, but I mean, I'm like the first to do it, and I seem to be doing okay.
Are there any content creators within Gaily who you would want to shout out, like any other contributors to the scene in ways that aren't just like competing?
I mean, I want to shout out Ash Lee, who's been there for like since the beginning, and like Vaporeon, she's like a top PM player, but also just like keeping me in check with a lot of my decisions and making sure that we have the, like especially with moderating. I don't know. Anybody else I want to shout out? I want to shout out Spinda. She just does a lot for Gaily, and she really helped the platform, and she's just a good representative. Like, happy to have her as like the first center PR. And I think LSD is gonna probably be first center PR, and I think he's gonna be just as good. I don't know. Content creators, I don't know. So all the admins, Chaka and Maya and Luna, and Sophie, and Greg Turbo, Gaily admin Greg Turbo.
Something you also mentioned before the show is that you want to talk about a couple of Indiana players that people should be looking out for. So I guess now is a good chance for you to bring them up.
I want to shout out Matt Tyro. I mean,
I
I've been
didn't know
playing
he was
with
Indiana. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've been playing with Matt Tyro for like 4 years. I told him that he's gonna be the best Luigi in the world one day. I always said, I know it's like a dumb thing. It's like how people say Aklo is the best Link, and he plays Link the best, but he doesn't play Link. People say that he's just the best player that plays Link, and I'm like, Matt Tyro, you are the best Luigi player. Like, you love Luigi the most, and one day you'll be the best player that plays Luigi, and you'll be one of the best players. And I think he's on the trajectory. So I want to shout out Matt Tyro. I really want to shout out Guy, who would be J-Flex, insane win, former top 100 player. Blue, I want to shout out Blue. Peak of the Wanderer, pretty good. They're pretty new, and they're really good. Latin, he's a little salty gamer, but I want him to get really good, so my 3-0 set kind of gets him. It's like a really good thing. like I beat Blue when he was like like an O2er when he first started, and I'm like, yeah, I won't know against blue. It's like, don't make you play him. But and Dow is really good. He's crazy, and most importantly, Hefty Pecker Rabi's like really good. Goodness, he's good. He's really good. He's gonna mess people up if he ever travels.
You know, that's
But
awesome.
yeah, but Dow, I think Dow specifically is like gonna be like, one of the future best players in Indiana.
All right. Amby, do you have any other questions that you had for Trinity? Or
I think that we could transfer. We could move over a little bit to this end segment that we came up with, because you know we're all Melee people. We do Melee stuff all the time, but we're also people, and we do other stuff in the world on our day-to-day basis. So I think it'd be good to talk a little bit just about like what have we been doing outside of the game, what types of stuff are we into, what types of stuff we do that make us people that exist outside of this like weird social media box of Super Smash Brothers. And it'd be good. Like, what's new with you guys? What are you into this week?
yeah, why don't we let them start first?
I recently started an anime called Hajime no Ippo. It sets with that. I love it, and I loved it so much that I like rethought my whole lifestyle and I started running. So I've been running every day now.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
So I'm just like fixing like how lazy I was, and I switched my major to graphic design because I think I'm good at that, and I think that's what I want to do with my life. And I bought a drawing tablet. So now I'm really good at Jackbox.
Yes. Is that a Huon tablet?
It's a XP tablet, and yeah, so I've been doing that. Running, watching anime, reading.
What are you reading?
Politics. I'm reading Mornings in Janine, which is a book about just like Palestinian people. Graphic design. I get a graphic design vouch in the chat. Yeah.
Wait,
I've
did
just
you say
been-
you got a Norman Finkelstein book?
No, Mornings in Janine. It's a
Morning. I thought you said Norman Finkelstein. I was gonna be like, oh yeah, I think he has a new book coming out actually.
and I've been reading this book my girlfriend recommended me called Reincarnation Blues. It's pretty good.
What about you, Edwin?
So, I'm gonna try to keep this quick. Basically, as many of you know, my interests are usually in like pro sports, politics, or melee. So something I've been doing a lot of is like revisiting like both like texts by the. So I'm Indian American, just for reference. Like my I was born in like Jamaica, but most of my family's from India. And like following the whole COVID situation has definitely like made me a little more like intricate with like the inner workings of like Indian politics and everything. And I think something that we often forget about in the United States when studying politics in another country is that it's not like an entire country is like there's like an easy national political scene or whatever. Like a country like India is going to be split into so many different languages, different sects of people. Like the idea of nations and the way that we think of them today is like it's so relatively modern in human history. Like even India as a concept, like this is something that spans like groups of people who may not like even share like a religion or like a sect of a religion or like languages with each other. So this has been a concept that's been in like the back of my mind as I'm just like learning more about the like, you know, India's development in the 20th century, how things got to where it became today, you know, like how it's handling COVID and everything. I just think this stuff is very like humbling to learn because you kind of see not quite the same, but you see similar like I don't know how else to put this, but like dialectical processes that in like other like you get to see things through like a like or at least the way I'm reading it, you begin to like form a lens for how things work when you notice something happening in another country with kind of like a weird analogy to how we think of American politics, but just like a few differences where like something is weighted differently than it is here. And I just think I've always had an interest in stuff like this for other countries, but I find that like at least reading more about you know like my ancestry has given me a deeper, more like fresh perspective on it.
Yeah, I've been super interested in like India, the politics of like India, ever since I read about like the partition and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I hate colonialism so much. What about you, Ambi? How's your life been? What's you been up to?
Yeah, no, my life's been good. I just got back from like a big family reunion, so like a lot of my family is from El Salvador, and you know, my extended relatives very rarely get all together in one place. But they all got together, and I spent the last couple days like in North Carolina. And you know, I've just been like going outside more, and I really got to say, I think we all
It's good.
just need to go outside more, man.
Yeah.
I think it's like I'm just starting to feel more like myself again, right? Like after months of being locked, like this is like the tatami galaxy. Like you leave one apartment and it just becomes your apartment again. I just feel like I might have been wrong about not liking the sun. I think it's very underrated going outside these days. So if you have like a trail nearby you or something, just go walk on the trail. It's all good. You'll feel better afterwards.
Or just go in the woods. It's great.
And if you're a gamer and you're like, but I'd rather be playing Melee and practicing. The best Melee I've ever played was when I went for a run and like sweated my guts out and then wanted to die, and then I sat down and then I waited like 5 seconds, and I was like the most refreshed I've ever been, and I did not miss a tech chase the entire day. Just run.
Yeah.
That's what Wizzy does, and he's like insane tech chasing.
If you really can't be away from Melee for like 10 minutes to go jogging, like I don't know, man.
Get some help.
Like YouTube download a Drug Fox lesson, put it on your phone, listen to it while running.
That's what I do at the treadmill, but I do that with fiction lessons or Cador messons lessons.
Yeah,
when I'm at the treadmill.
I don't know. Just go outside.
I've been taking Cadoran lessons. It's really smart.
I think it's very nice to be out in the sun. I think I was not one of these people, and now I'm abruptly one of these people. Quarantine made me an outdoors person. So.
All right. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. We've been going for like 80 minutes or so. Bit of a shorter episode. But Trinity, you were a wonderful guest. It was really awesome having you on the show. I hope to see you at the next major I go to. I'm sure Ambi hopes the same. Is there anything that you want to plug where we can follow you, where the people can follow your work, you know, keep up to date with everything?
I'm MeleeSadPosts, and if you're really looking forward to what I have next, is I just finished my whole cycle of Gaily Summit into the gay one. You know, that's like my thing. And my next work loop is Team Combo West Coast Edition. We have coaches like Homemade Waffles, Toph, Spark, some really great talent from the West Coast are going to teach some brand new Melee players about 6 months to a year in experience how to play, how to amp up their next game. So we're going to have a bracket. We're going to start with the bracket, and we're going to see how they stack up against each other, and they're going to choose their coaches. And then a month later, you're going to see how they improved. And if you want to see who the coaches are, you can go to twitter.com/theteamcombo. And the apprentices haven't chosen their coaches yet. So
awesome. And if you like Melee Stats, you can support us on patreon.com/MeleeStats. You can subscribe to us at our YouTube channel and our Twitch channel. You can follow us at MeleeStatsPod on Twitter. You can join the Melee Stats podcast server, which will be linked in the description of this video. Yeah, so that's about it. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a really nice show doing it with both you folks. Hope to see you guys next week.
yeah,
Thanks, guys.